Cloud. Okay. Okay, here we are. We did it. Here's episode 2 of the podcast. Obviously, we've had some amazing highs, already a couple pretty painful lows. You have myself here. Travis is not with us today. He is a busy man in Denver, so my heart is out to him. I hope he's doing okay. But then we have Carter. So Carter, glad to have you here. I mean, anything to tell the people as they're listening?
No, I'm just happy to be here. Was happy to see the group podcast that came out after week 1, after no consultation from anyone else. It obviously is apparent that Travis is the funniest person in Luke's eyes. So glad to be the second consolation when he is out of town, but didn't have a chance.
No. So, wait, by the way, I never even asked you, did you listen to the whole podcast? Did we say anything that was super painful? Because I don't have the grades up. I know that I think Travis gave you an F, and now you're the 3-0 man. So do you have a vengeance? Is this whole season just vengeance against Travis, basically?
He did rate me very low. I will admit, as a massive narcissist, I only really paid attention to the parts that involved me. Okay. So I definitely tuned out the second half, but in preparation for today, since I got a text from you 4 minutes ago for me to hop on, I did listen to it on 3 times speed to catch up. So excited for the chance.
All right, well, amazing. So we can jump in. So just to give everyone listening at home an agenda overview. So we'll go through the matches. We got 3 weeks to quickly overview. We won't go through every match in detail. We don't have all day here. So we'll try and keep it brief. Then we'll talk about the draft risers and fallers, people who I thought were going to be amazing, ended up not being amazing. People who I thought would suck are doing great. So we'll discuss that. And then we'll end up with some current standings, because obviously Carter is king of the hill, 3-0, undefeated. And there's a couple people that are without a win. Let me see. Actually, I think is it just Miller that doesn't have a win?
Let me check right now. I did notice, I didn't want to be rude and call it out, but I think it would be unfair to not say that Alex is 0-3.
Yeah, no, that's a fact.
The fact that he has stuck to the name of Redskins is funny, but also culturally insensitive.
Hey, yeah. So today's also his birthday. I have it on my calendar for some reason. So happy birthday, but also screw you, Miller. Okay, so here we go. So let me share my screen. Let's see. Okay, so starting off scoreboard. Oh, whoa, where'd you go? Hold on, I lost you.
I'm here.
Can you see my screen?
I can.
All right, cool. So I don't know how this is going to look on the recording, but all right. So this is what we're looking at. So week 1, high level. Yeah, Butler beat me. Oh, Scout beat Miller, and then Travis lost to Danny. You beat Crocker pretty handily. Matt beat Xander, and then Hayden beat that's Reno. That's Reno. So all right, so week 1, obviously it's a couple weeks ago. I lost because my team didn't show up. So plain and simple, it was 100 to 125. Butler had a decent outing, but nothing crazy. Jefferson had 40 points. So good for him, but there's nothing really remarkable from mine. I remember though, for Miller and Scouts, it was 140 to 141. I think Scout won on the last play. It was like a little toss over to Jamal Williams, because I think they were the Monday night game against the Seahawks. And so that's super painful. So Miller came close, but hey, a loss is a loss. So that's painful.
Which, looking at that box score, it's got to make you sick that David Montgomery. Wait, what team does David Montgomery play for?
It's the Bears. Why? What happened?
Okay,
open this
because I guess that's uncharacteristic for a Bears player to underperform, but he was projected at 15 points and
what did he get?
Only scored 8, which has got to make you just sick.
Yeah, because honestly, Scout's team just performed. They didn't do anything remarkable. They just showed up. And so, that sucks. But I will say,
which speaking about Scout, he's got to go to bed every night just in constant fear that he's going to wake up to a notification that Christian McCaffrey's out with a year-long injury. That's
Oh,
gotta be just so bad
absolutely.
for his mental health.
So I saw on Twitter that he's injured right now. So he was hurt. So I ran and I picked up Chuba Hubbard because I literally drafted Chuba with the goal of trading him to Scout because Scout was right next to me in the draft position. And he picked up Chase Edmonds, who I really wanted. And I was like super salty. So I'm like, screw you. I'm going to pick up Chuba. And Scout just wanted nothing to do with me. So I dropped Chuba and then I just picked him back up. So I'm hoping Christian goes out and then maybe Scott will trade for him. We'll see. I don't know if Scott's going to listen to this, but yeah, their game was super close. So that's painful. Anything else from week one? Hold on. We didn't, you beat Graybar, Crocker. Because if we're thinking about last year's champions, Miller's team was super strong, Crocker's team was super strong, and I think Xander's team was super strong. So all three of them lost week one.
I was very much bailed out by a combination of Patrick Mahomes and Clyde. Patrick got me 45 points, and Clyde got me 23. So I had multiple people underperform, so I got bailed out by them. I know Connor was pretty upset, looking really quickly. He had a great performance from Jamar Chase, but Dawson Knox, obviously fresh off of a death in the family, underperformed. So sorry for the Knox family.
Oh wow, I didn't know that, but yeah, he had one catch for 5 yards, so that's not great. Because then looking at your team, I forgot that Mahomes almost put up 50 points. That's insane. Mm-hmm. And then Derrick Henry, he's been just chugging along. He didn't have a remarkable day, but didn't goose you. But Devontae Smith,
he has had one touchdown all year.
Yeah, but Smith goosed you and he still won, so that's pretty amazing. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
On week one. And then I'm trying to see if anyone else had a close game. I think that was here. Let's check out Matt and Xander real quick. They kind of had a close game. Let's see. Honestly, Matt's team's been doing really well, but Justin Herbert's probably going to be done. Oh, I forgot about this. Xander's team has been just obliterated by injuries. Trey Lance is out. Oh, Cole Kmet. Yeah, he's not doing too hot. Tough for you, Xander. Who would have ever drafted a Bears player? What were you thinking? But that's tough for you. So he lost. Basically, if Cole Kmet would have shown up, he probably would have won. And Mike Williams only got 3 points. So that's tough. So all that to say, week one in the books, only real close match was Miller to Scout. Everyone else, it was relatively straightforward. It is tough though, being Xander at 133 points. That's a pretty good outing to still lose when Butler put up 125 and beat me. There were 2 people who won with more points, but same with Crocker. So sometimes that's how it rolls. And
we'll just say it's week one. People are trying to figure it out. You're still getting in the rhythm. You haven't set that reoccurring reminder every Wednesday night to check your lineup. Like you're not in midseason form yet. It's going to take some time to get there. So those are looking on to week two. Looks like we had a couple other close matchups. Once again, don't want to be rude, but Connor kicked the shit out of Danny. It wasn't even close.
Crocker was upset. He was filled with rage. And poor Danny, just unsuspecting victim there of the rage. Because I think that's kind of how Crocker's team is built, is if they all hit, they're going to be really hard to beat. But then Forstoff's team put up almost 170. Holy crap. Amon St. Brown putting up 40 points. Xander got his first win of the season. At this point, a lot of you won, but you beat Travis's team, who's honestly really struggling. And then, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this. So Miller and again, this is in my division, which is of course the hardest, the group of death. But then in our division, we had Miller put up 152 points. Stephon Diggs had 44 points, and he still lost to Butler. I think that was the week where like a couple of the Dolphins players just went absolutely nuclear. So Jalen Waddle put up 40. Nick Chubb, I think, had a couple touchdowns that game. But then
32 points.
Yeah, that is crazy. And then my team is, I've changed my name because it's all about Lamar Jackson. So it's
Uh-huh.
literally Jackson put up almost 50 points, and I have the stack of Jackson and Mark Andrews. So if they're both hitting it, I mean, it's gonna be a good day. But it's kind of terrifying because I
Which
live and die.
when looking at your team name, Lights Camera Jackson, sounds like a porn. And to go along with your porn title name, Jonathan Taylor, I feel like has been a pretty big bust so far,
Yeah,
which aligns with the porn theme you got going on. What are your thoughts on Jonathan Taylor's performance? Obviously, being the number one pick,
yeah,
expectations were high, but as a whole, he scored 2 touchdowns this year.
yeah. Not very good. He only put up 7 points, but I'm happy because I'm still 2-1. You know, it's like you're 3-0, and Henry hasn't been hitting his stride yet. You know, and he's like your RB1. That's kind of how I feel about Jonathan Taylor, where it's like I'm lucky to be 2-1. I'm a little concerned about the Colts offense. They lost to Jacksonville 0-24. Honestly, Jacksonville's a sneaky team in general, but yeah, that was not good. That was really bad, actually. So
And another
not
thing
feeling.
I wanted to call out on a quick note about your team is the fact that you keep Justin Fields on your bench. That's just perpetuating hope that you have in the Bears. That's all
Yeah,
that's doing. You're just a masochist. You're wanting pain. You just want to
yeah,
be reminded of what could have been.
yeah. I've watched the last couple games. My eyes are burned most of the time. So it's like it's I think painful is an understatement to see what the Bears are putting out on the field right now. So why I have kept Fields and Mooney is just hope. You know, it can't get any worse. So I
Mm-hmm.
assume there are only better days ahead. So we'll
Yes.
see if that's correct. Otherwise, I think Justin Fields has not thrown for over 100 yards this season, which is a problem for a wide receiver of the Bears. So that's pretty painful. But yeah, any other games this week you want to call out and highlight?
No, not that I can think of. Looks like it was a lot of pretty close matchups. Week 2, people are starting to get more used to the flow of the season. Haven't seen too many trades come through. I know that
No trades.
Connor proposed one to me that I rejected. Then I woke up to a text from you, Luke, saying, "Hey, just propose a trade your way. Let me know." And it was canceled less than a minute later. So
Yeah, I got anxious.
some buyer's remorse there.
I got scared. So I think the fear of the trade. So I've sent out probably close to 15 trade requests because I'm like, I'm wheeling and dealing. I'm like, maybe this is better. And now that they have this rating feature, I think it helps me not propose stupid trades because it gives a score where it's like, hey, this is actually fair. And so it stopped me from proposing things that were really ridiculous. I will say Crocker sent me a trade that was ridiculous and he didn't look at the score, but that's okay. That's Crocker's learning. We'll give him some grace.
Did you accept?
Oh, absolutely not. I think he traded it was in response, I think, my Justin Fields for Jamar Chase. He turned around and tried to get, I think it was Jonathan Taylor for Jamal Williams. So that was obviously not accepted. But I honestly, I don't remember exactly what the trade was, but it might have been Isaiah McKenzie. But all that to say, no trades I think have happened yet this season. So then, I mean, moving on to week 3, I'm looking at the matches. Let me see.
Looks like a lot of ass kickings here.
Yeah. Oh man. So
especially
Travis
coming in the Alex's game of getting killed by Luke. I guess it wouldn't be the first time a white guy named Luke drove some Redskins out of their native territory. 157-80. That is a ass kicking. What happened, Alex?
Well, I don't know. Let's look at the box score because honestly, I was traveling this weekend, so I didn't really follow it super closely. So we're
that's so mean.
Oh,
that's
so
just throwing salt on the wound.
Oh, hold on. Let's take a closer look. David Montgomery. Oh, he had David Montgomery who went down injured. So, I feel bad for Miller because he's put up points, yet he's getting a little bit unlucky because his backup, Khalil Herbert, had 30 points on the day from a PPR standpoint. And then Naheem Hines, he had to start Naheem Hines because James Conner was out. So he had a rough day there. And then honestly, DJ Moore, huge bust. So that's painful because that's one of his keepers. But it's okay. I'm there with you, Miller. I have Mooney, who's also a bust right now. So we can be in pain together about that. Hayden Hurst put up 1.7 points, and the Steelers have 1 point. So really a horrible day. And then Matthew Stafford did 10 points.
Speaking of Panthers wide receivers, I feel like there was a lot of Robbie Anderson slander.
Oh yeah, Scout
coming
Scout?
out of
Scout
the draft.
literally.
Scout was hot.
Look at Scout. Scout's quote was like, whoever drafts like Robbie Anderson is an idiot or something like that. And Robbie Anderson's been putting up points. So Scout, that's just painful for you. That's very painful.
I drafted Robbie Anderson, got called a fool. Scout worked with my brother and personally said that my brother is smarter than me because he would never have drafted Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson has been done very well for me so far as a whole.
Yeah. So shame on you, Scout. Well, Scout's 2-1, so he's doing okay. But let me check out their max. Their match 110 to 141. Jalen Hurts has been putting the team on his back, so that's good for him. Graybar didn't show up. And so Travis narrowly avoided a 3-0 defeat because if Graybar shows up, that's always scary for everyone. Oh, wow, your match and Danny's match. That was close. Hold on, let's take a deeper dive. So your match and Danny's match. Okay. Wow. Okay, Joe Burrow showed up big for Danny. AJ Dillon didn't show up. Dalvin Cook has been MIA this whole season. Rashad Bateman.
I got helped by Devontae Smith on my end, which I'm not the one to remember comments from the past. I like to wake up every day on a clean slate, but I distinctly remember that little bitch Travis making fun of me for drafting Devontae Smith. And he got me 31 points. But I'm not the type of person to remember stuff like that, so I'll forget it.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, I'm really impressed that you started him because he hadn't been doing super well. And then you started him anyways, and he just went nuclear. So good for you grabbing those 30 points because that bold decision got you the win. So
yes,
good for you. Good for you. And then any other matches we want to call out here? Let me see. Hayden got his. I think Hayden got his first victory while leaving someone on the bench, he didn't start. Yeah, Keenan Allen was out, so he started someone who was hurt. So shame on you, Hayden. So shame, but you still got it done. So
in what world would you think that? Oh, I have Kyler Murray. I should start Ryan Tannehill. But actually, Tannehill would have gotten him a more secure victory, which I don't think anybody has said that sentence before. Happy to report it here.
Yeah, and poor Xander. I mean, look at his team. Just horrible, like it's just kidding. I'm kidding. No, it's just the injury bug has hit him so hard. Like he's starting Carson Wentz, who's been playing really well, then he didn't show up. He's still starting Cole Kmet. Like I appreciate your love for the Bears, but it is time to move on from him. And then let's see his bench. Damian Pierce was on the bench with 18, so it's like he was close, and he was projected to beat Hayden by a lot, and he still lost. So
I'm gonna go hands up here and say that I consider myself a pretty avid football fan. I like to watch, I like to keep up with it. I'm looking at the people on Alexander's bench currently, and I legitimately only know 2 names on his bench. Like Christian Watson, that sounds like a fake name that's like the main character in a Star Wars video game. Albert, not going to pronounce that last name because it might be as a slur. I don't want to mispronounce that. Rashad White, there's one too many A's in his first name. I don't know anybody here. I wouldn't know who he was playing.
So I will say I'm not opposed by his bench. I think he grabbed Tyler Conklin, who's been killing it. So he picked him off waivers, I think. Christian Watson, he's that rookie, but he's hurt, so that's painful. Rashad White has upside. I mean, he's got a lot of those fantasy darlings. It's like people who get really into the game. It's like he drafted Damian Pierce, who the heck is that? But he's been killing it. Well, now he's killing it. But I feel bad for him because he, I think, has a decent team. But man, injuries have really been his problem. So all that to say, we have finished our first segment of the podcast. Now, any comments before we move into phase 2? Of who's surprised and who's really been bust?
Not that I can think of. I was working on kind of some quick comments on some teams before we move on to the next section. Just want to call out Alex currently. When I looked at his roster, he has Geno Smith as his starter, which
Really?
that's just hysterical in of itself. It
What
just
is he
had to be called
doing?
out that at this point, Alex's starting quarterback is Geno Smith.
Let's see.
Geno Smith is not writing any letters back. He's been written off his whole career. He's not being written off by Alex, so we'll see how that goes for him.
Wow, that
Um,
is shocking. What is he thinking?
well,
Poor
look, he
guy.
doesn't. He legitimately does have another quarterback on his bench. So let's see some available quarterbacks that might be better than Geno Smith. Matt Stafford, who, if I remember, Alex just dropped because he had
Matt,
Matthew as a starting quarterback in the
oh
past.
no. Wow, so he must have just rage dropped. You know, that's happened to me in the past. So I've been there, I felt that. Um, Honestly, I've heard some rumors that Matthew Stafford has like this lingering elbow injury. So maybe that's
Mm.
what's causing some issues because his issues have become my issues with Allen Robinson. I like drafted Allen Robinson to be legit, and he has not been legit thus far. So
Mm.
that's pretty painful. Any other observations before we go to risers and fallers?
I when it comes to risers and fallers, one team that impresses me on the surface level, and then I actually look at it, is Butler. I look at Butler's starting lineup as a whole, and objectively, I think he's got a pretty good starting, what, 10, 11. Kirk Cousins, obviously hit or
Let's
miss.
see. I'm trying to look at and see everyone's rosters really simply. Okay, so here we go. We're going to whose team? Healing
Uh,
Innovations.
Hitting innovations. I look at his starting top
Oh,
and like
wow.
Kirk Cousins, a points guy. Nick Chubb's a
Yeah.
points guy. Ezekiel Elliott, I don't care for him, to be honest. Justin Jefferson gets points. Jalen Waddle, boomer
Yeah.
bust. But then you look at his bench, and I don't know if his bench is doing him any favors.
Wow. I mean, I think he's got a pretty good team. I mean, he's 2-1. He's got some depth, and I think it's been interesting to see how it's like the wide receivers, the people who dropped wide receivers early, it's like their teams are super good because it's a boomer bust thing where it's like if Justin Jefferson goes off, he's super hard to beat, you know? So it's hard to predict, but I mean, he's set up for success with those two guys. So I could see him continuing to be pretty good this year. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Man, anyone else before let me look into some teams.
Yeah.
Let's see the top three teams. So your team, honestly, I'm really impressed that you're 3-0 with Derrick Henry not playing very well. So that's been
Correct.
impressive. Um, we'll see
Oh,
if you can keep it up.
I check my phone every day at 3 o'clock, and I'm just shocked, to be honest, to see that I'm in a position to win. I'm
Hey,
used to looking and scrolling and seeing a loss projected. I've definitely been bailed out. I'm encouraged by Darren Waller. I think he's a good player to have. He got that big contract. I think he's a boomer bust type player. But my bench is just horrendous. I'll call it for
check it
what it
out.
is. Robert
Woods,
Woods is a bust. Gasecki had that one touchdown and did the worst gritty I've ever seen.
yeah.
Russell Wilson, the serial killer. Um,
What is up with him? He has been a weirdo. So I'm like, I don't know what his brand is, but he's weird. Like he's really weird. And I didn't realize he was super weird until this whole Denver thing. But like, man, he's playing very poorly too.
and as bad as it sounds for this group, he is getting a lot of slander for being super Christian.
Yeah,
Like
that's
that
not
is
great.
not helping him or our case.
Yeah, the Twitter world has not been kind to Russell Wilson. I will say I think Matt's team has been surprisingly good. You know, I think there's a lot of danger with the injuries. I don't think Eckler's been super good, but Amon St. Brown, I think he might be, in my mind, the biggest riser out of anyone in the entire league. I think he might be this year's Cooper Cup. I tried to trade for him and Matt literally laughed at my face. So that didn't go well for me. But um yeah, Deontay Johnson, I think he's got a pretty decent team. When they hit, I think they'll hit pretty big. And then AJ Brown ended up having a couple big games too. So I think his team's legit.
I don't want to
Any
derail
thoughts?
the conversation, but it has to be said that Amon-Ra St. Brown, top 3 most confusing names in the NFL. I don't know what is
Absolutely.
his first or last name. It is confusing every time I see his name listed.
And I think people try and like refer to him as the sun god because it's like Ra. Like I think Ra is the sun god or something like that. I don't fully understand. So I'm with you there. There's definitely some confusion, from me at least. But I would say that's good. But then again, I think his bench is pretty weak. But then we're in a competitive league where almost everyone's bench is weak. I think Scout's team has been surprisingly good. I think it's a surprise that Gabe Davis has been playing so poorly, as well as Chase Edmonds. I thought they'd both be good, but then his bench is atrocious. So we'll see if any of us survive throughout the whole season because injuries are going to start really coming up. I will say, so looking at my team, I had to spend big money already in the fab market because Elijah Mitchell went down. I think I spent 40 fab. I was terrified. I don't know if anyone else even bid on him, but if I lost Jeff Wilson, my team was kaput. So Jeff Wilson's been doing okay for me. I mean, my team is literally Lamar and Mark Andrews. So if they do well, my team has a chance. If they don't do well, I literally don't stand a chance because I've got some weaknesses throughout.
CeeDee Lamb's good. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb had that drop touchdown, but then redeemed himself for the second one later in the game. Fast hands off of him. Damian Harris, to me, this is just the eye test here. I think he underperforms consistently, and the Patriots are booty cheeks.
Ooh. Hey, that's okay. I think Damian Harris is surprisingly sort of in the same bucket as like Nick Chubb, where like Nick Chubb is legitimately one of the best rushers in the NFL, but he's not super great at fantasy. Where it's like some of those guys who catch the ball, they get higher points. I think Damian Harris, like you see him running, you're like, oh man, that guy's got some juice, but then he doesn't catch the ball, so he doesn't really reflect the same level. But I think he's in a contract year, so we'll see if he stays with the Patriots. But I think I'm kind of lucky to be 2-1, to be honest, with Lamar putting up 50 points back-to-back weeks. That's pretty hard to lose. But we'll see. Because I survived Jonathan Taylor doing pretty poorly for the first couple of weeks. Keelan Innovations, we already talked about Butler's team. So again, we've touched on a couple of teams from my division. There's a lot of blood in the water over there. And then we got Reno's team. I think Reno's team's still doing pretty well.
Speaking of blood in the water, we'll move on to the Roe v. Waiters.
Yeah. I can't think of a more controversial name. Actually, hold on. Where's Miller? Just kidding. So, but yeah, that's a bravo on the creativity there. I think his team has really struggled in the running back category. It's got a couple heavy hitters. I think Amari Cooper's been a surprisingly good guy for them. Chris Olave's looked really good. Michael Thomas, when he's not hurt, has looked good. So I think Reno's got one of those sneaky teams that, he could make a run if he continues to stay healthy.
I feel bad for him drafting his backup quarterback as Derek Carr. Obviously, I'm sure he was hoping for a competition battle for QB1 between him and Tom, but Derek Carr just is not. They are an 0-3 Raiders team that is not looking great.
Yeah, that's really weird that they're looking so poor. But then moving down into, man, Crocker's team looks terrifying, but apparently they have no bite because it's like Aaron Jones had one good game. Rashad Penny's kind of just doing okay. Maybe his team's not as scary as I imagined at first. So
we'll when looking at 2 people on his bench of 6, 2 of them are just not playing or dressing out.
Why does he have Odell Beckham Jr. on his bench? That doesn't even make any sense to me. But
people are asking that. That is something that I have read on Twitter. People are curious as to why he keeps Odell Beckham on his bench, since Odell has been seen dressed out on other teams' sidelines, similar to a campus visit. But Connor saw that opportunity, decides to sneak him up. We'll see if that plays out for him down the road.
We'll see. I'm a huge fan of Hayden's team. I think Hayden's got a lot of great players. I think he's got a pretty good bench. J.K. Dobbins could be coming back. I think Michael Carter's been looking okay. He had Khalil Herbert, who he had a big week. So I think Hayden has one of those teams where it's like he's got a lot of average to good players. He doesn't have a whole bunch of superstars, but I'm a fan of his team personally because they've all been playing pretty well. And then you got Travis's team, which I feel like should be really good because I think Saquon Barkley is one of those players where people are like, he's looked amazing, but
Mhm.
despite getting Saquon Barkley probably in the third round or something like that, maybe it was the second, Najee Harris has just been playing so poorly that it really hasn't evened out. So we'll see if he's able to continue to stay and
Travis
compete.
is he's in a tough QB position, having three quarterbacks and still deciding to start Jared Goff. That's not something that a lot of other
Oh
people
no.
would decide to say. Obviously, having Dak out is hard for morale, but the
Yeah.
Cowboys are a black pit of sadness. Trevor
Yeah.
Lawrence, I would assume he drafted him after the Dak injury, and that is looking to be a pretty good pickup off of the waiver wire. Don't know exactly, but
Yeah. I mean, his team's not horrible, but he's piecing together. He's doing the best he can with what he's got.
mhm.
Because then when we get down to this last row, this is where we have Xander, Danny, and Miller. Looking at Xander's team, man, I just feel for him. Like he's been just hit by the injury plague. Like I think his team's still
Mhm.
okay, but like Kareem Hunt's been playing okay. Mike Williams okay. That's really good for flex. But DeAndre Swift, I think, is out for a couple weeks. Cole Kmet has been horrible. Tolbert, I mean, he's got his bench is really weak actually. So
Yeah.
we'll see if he survives the season. And then we got Danny, where Dalvin Cook hasn't showed up. Michael Pittman's been playing okay. Travis Kelsey in his defense has been playing well. We'll see if he can stay healthy. And yeah, he drafted Cam Akers, who he has looked bad, but now he's starting to look a little bit better. Um, so nothing too crazy for either their teams. Any comments, Carter, on their teams?
Nothing I can think of. I think that obviously, like I've talked about Alexander's team, I just feel like I don't know half the people on there. When looking at Danny, got some big upside. Michael Pittman, I think, had a pretty good week one, but I don't think the Colts as a whole have scored a ton since then. They're playing the Titans this week, so they're probably going to score 60 points. So it might be a good week for him there. Glad to see he
Yeah.
drafted Young Wei Koo. Just because it's nice to see someone named Koo be accepted because usually coups are not accepted politically. So glad to have some representation there.
Yeah, because I mean, then the last team is Miller's team, who's surprisingly 0-3. I think he's got a decent team. I think he did well with picking up a couple of these guys, like say Jones has been playing well, Duvernay's been playing well. DJ Moore's the bust, but
Mhm.
I think Christian Kirk, that's been a big ad for him. He's been playing pretty well. So he's been active on the free agency wire, on the waiver
Mhm.
wire. So you can see that he's picked up a couple people, but we'll
It is
see.
wild that Alex is 0-3 with Stephon Diggs because I'm pretty sure when I guess it was week two, the Bills versus Titans. I mean, Stephon Diggs scored. He had three or four touchdowns. So I don't know how
Yeah.
he lost that game unless just everyone on his team didn't show up.
Yeah, I don't know. So I feel bad for him. I don't think he's out. I don't think he's out by any means. So we'll see how he's able to claw his way back into this. But then
Mhm.
looking at our final segment, which is just the standings, we have the group of death, which we have three teams at 2-1. So three teams tied for first. Competitive group of death, and then we got Miller, who's looking to destroy everyone. So that's that group. Technically, I'm not sure why, but Scout is first. I think it might be alphabetical. His team starts with an A. I don't
Mhm.
know. That maybe that's what you're trying to do. Who knows? But then the Chaz group, you're obviously first, 3-0, and then you've managed to annihilate your competition in your division. Everyone else is 1-2, so you have a pretty nice buffer there to make the playoffs. And then the meat division or the cupcake division, I'm not really sure. But Matt's in first,
I
tied
can
with
go
3 and
ahead and
0.
provide some commentary. I bet the conversation of why should we name our team Meat came of a group text started by Matt, Carson, Hayden, Alexander. Someone said, "Hey, what should we name our group?" And then Carson just said Meat, and then no one had anything else witty enough to say, so they just went with it, and now it's cemented in history. So I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure that's the
yeah.
origin there.
I'm still waiting for a better team name from them, or division name. We'll see. But that the meat division, they're making it. But if you're looking at who's in the playoffs right now, you're technically in the playoffs. Here they actually have a playoff bracket. So you have a bye, projected first round bye. Matt has a projected first round bye. And then this is what the rest of the teams are looking like. So then 3 of the people in my division are in these wild card games. So we'll see what happens. You know, I would say the only big surprise for me is looking at Miller's team that he's 0-3 because he put up some points. Other than that, I think everyone stayed pretty competitive. Congratulations on being 3-0.
Thank you.
And look at, oh, hold on, there's the season stats. So points 4, if we're looking at who has the most points, it's actually, okay, so Matt's team is in first with 425 points. And then, hold on, yeah, then it's Scout's team at 411, then it's my team, then your team, 405. And then there's actually a decent drop. I would say then that's a 15-point drop to the next spot. So if we're just looking at pure statistics, there's a little bit of a tier. There's a top tier, and then the next tier are, wow, we have like 4 teams within 3 points of each other. You have Butler's team, Crocker's team, Hayden's team, and then Carson's team, or Reno's team. And then you have, so they're kind of 3 tiers right now for points 4, and then points against, let's see, man, that's no surprise. You see that Miller's team had 453 points against him, which is out of his control, which is very painful. Next is Danny, 412. And then it's Hayden and then Matt. So I think it's really impressive then that Matt is still in second despite so many points being scored against him. Because I've really looked out. I have the second to least amount of points scored against me. So obviously I've been planning. I created the schedule. I'm sure that this is the result of my scheming in some capacity. But the only person who has scored fewer points against them would be Miller. Wait.
No, anime team. That's Travis.
Did he make his team name Alex Miller?
I don't know I looked at that. It looks, yeah, no, you're looking at it right. It's weird.
That doesn't make any sense. But all right. So all that to say, we have now pushed our podcast into close to 40 minutes. So, you know, we said we wouldn't make it this long, but here we are. But there's a lot.
Are you serious? I did not know it was 40 minutes.
Yeah, we're at 44 minutes right now from a podcast, I think. Yeah. So all that to say, any closing comments before we wrap up this second podcast and share it with the people?
No, that I can think of. It's been a lot of fun. I never thought I would be in this position, being at the top of the leaderboard, considering I think I finished last year. Just happy to be here. Yeah, it's been fun so far. I think the divisions idea has been a good call by you, Luke. I don't want to, we need to call out praise when it's due. I think the 3 divisions of 4 has been a good change. I will say that. But yeah, excited to see where the rest of the season goes. Yeah.
We'll see. Because we have, now it's kind of general conference play. We've gone out of the divisions. Now we'll play our next, I think it's 8 games against the teams outside of your division, and then we'll wrap up the season again with our 3 matches against our division. So a lot can change. So everyone's basically still in it. No one's out of it. So, all right, well, Carter, I think that's everything. So let me stop my share and we'll wrap it up. So adios on the podcast, amigos.
Adios.